if I change this, what'll happen?
Yeah.
They don't know, but they can tell you after the fact. Science is the past, faith is the future.
Start from the beginning. Tell us your story. How did you get started in track and field and consulting and mentoring people in general? Like, go.
Got it. So I grew up playing football, basketball. Came from a baseball family, but I never really got really into it. But I did t-ball, things like that, but I didn't continue with it. And my mom was young, so baseball is a very expensive sport. Just to get on the field, you need to spend $1,000 close to already. But football and basketball are just a pair of shoes. You show up. But did that pretty much all my life, and then got to 8th grade, and we had PE, and they said, okay, we're going to try track. And I just remember one chance of doing long jump, and I don't know how I looked, probably was horrible. I think I jumped like 12 or 13 feet, something like that. And then when I got to high school, I just tried out. Like, I didn't even do all the Hell Week and all that stuff for football. I just showed up the first day of school, tried out, and then I started the rest of the season, just the first game on, and that game was that week.
Nice.
But the football coach was like, hey, you know, I coach track as well. When football's done, come out to track. Spring came, and he's like, all right, I'm going to test you in 100. I ran, his face dropped, and he was like, I thought you'd be fast, you know? And I was like, I don't know, you know? And he's like, all right, come over here. He put the hurdles up. He's like, all right, I want you to run through them and take 4 steps in between. And I did it. And he was just like, wow. And I'm like, what? You know, you asked me to do it. I just did it. Like, what's the problem now?
Yeah.
And he's like, you just 3-step the hurdles.
Oh.
You know, at the varsity height. Like, he
right.
was probably the lowest height, but still, I still 3-stepped.
Sure. Yeah.
And he was like, you're on varsity. And
let's go.
That was the beginning of track. I started with hurdles.
You started as a hurdler.
Yeah, I was a hurdler all the way up until I finished college at Cal State LA. I just decided between triple jump and hurdles, and I saw hurdles. The guys who I ran against at nationals ran a whole second faster than me. So I ran a 14.3, which is a solid.
Oh yeah, that's totally respectable,
right? Yeah. And then they ran a 13.3, and I said, triple jump, I'm closer. Yeah, so I decided to stick with that because it was less traffic, basically.
That's awesome.
That was it.
So where did you go? You said you went to Cal State Fullerton. Is that what you said?
I went to Cal State Los Angeles.
Cal State LA.
And I lived in Fullerton, so across the street. I just wanted to get away from the city and just do something different.
Yeah. So at what point in your athletic career or after did you decide, like, oh yeah, I want to teach people how to do this and coach?
17.
When you were 17?
Yeah.
Dang.
I was in the weight room. I think it might have been during basketball season. And just this voice came over me and asked me, like, what do you want to do? I remember saying, I don't know. I just want to help people. And then my first job, I was working at Family Fun Center, like an arcade place out here. The next year I worked at Champ Sports, it's like Foot Locker.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then some guy came in and said, hey, you know, you have this great energy about you. We'd love you to come out to LA Fitness, you know, do a job interview. And I got hired there as the personal trainer, like salesperson.
Okay.
And I was doing it since then, 19. Then I didn't like the sales part of it. I wanted to actually be with the actual clients because I saw who I was selling a membership to and what they would do. And I'm like, they're not servicing these people, you know? And so I went and got certified. And so at 20 years old, I was a certified trainer and been working with humans since 20. So it's been 18 years now.
That's crazy. So yeah, I saw on your Instagram profile, it changed from like a coach, mentor, athlete to now consultant and mentor. How did that change come about? And because I mean, you're still coaching kids. So it's just like, what made that change?
I gave myself a promotion.
Yeah, let's go.
You know, I felt that, you know, my education continues. And so if I were to get my doctorates, I'd have a PhD in something.
Yep.
And so every day, every year, I'm always learning new things. And my next venture is learning sign language to service to hard of hearing. You know, I'm going to add another part to my name. So the sports consultant specifically came from, I'm actually working with coaches that are in return building their businesses, their brands, because they're saying, oh, I learned these concepts or ironed out some of these concepts because of some of your guidance. And I watch many athletes fail. I watch a lot of athletes fail, get hurt, serious adult injuries as kids, and they were preventable. And I see it, some of the parents are the reasons for it, but the parents don't know that they don't know. And so the parents are operating out of love.
Right.
The issue is the kid's leading and the parents say yes. So the kid says, I want to do baseball, football, basketball, all these sports, 7-on-7. And the parent says, well, I work hard to love you. And if I have it, I'll give it to you. And so now the kid's in 4 different sports and then overtraining and the kid gets hurt. But in reality, it's the parent that can say yes or no. And so it's my job to just educate the parent on, hey, if your kid's in 4 different sports this season, let's put a calendar together. So now you have a resource of, okay, before I say yes to you, let me talk to a consultant or a professional in this field to help us make the best decision. I'm now saying I'm a person of that criteria. That's what I've managed this whole time with my athletes.
Man, that's awesome. And it's cool because it's like you've been doing that before you labeled yourself a consultant. You know, you've been helping people for free, you know, just every day talking to people and stuff. And so it's cool and it makes sense now to see that this is kind of where you've morphed into for the next season.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go back to track a little bit. So you were a hurdler to begin with, and you didn't start triple jumping until you were in college, you said?
I started triple jump mid-season of my freshman year in high school.
Oh, okay. So you did triple a little bit in high school.
Yeah, I did it all through high school.
Pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, so triple jump was always there because I ran 300 hurdles, I think 2 or 3 times, and it felt like death to run. And I had asthma growing up.
Oh, gosh.
So to say, I want you to run, almost run this track as fast as you can, I was like, nope. So I was like, I'll just jump and I'll get better at jumping. So I told myself I got to jump far because triple jump and hurdles are at the same time.
Sure. And what is your personal best in triple jump?
1598. So 52,
52
4 and change.
Okay. So as a freshman in high school, you probably weren't jumping 52.
No.
What changed from when you were a freshman to when you hit 1598? That like, what were the different steps or the different like kind of major things that you were like, this clicked, and then you had a big improvement in your distance, and then you had another one, and then a plateau, another one like that?
Yeah.
What were some of those things?
YouTube happened, right? So I remember like I feel like I'm at that cusp of like old head and
right
like,
when everything was coming out.
Yeah. So sophomore year, when I got my computer, and then I was on Napster and all those other old head,
Let's go.
I remember watching someone triple jump and they were bounding. I had never seen it before. I've seen my peers in my community do it, but I never saw a professional bound. I said, oh, and I said, they're flat footed. And then one of the next track meets, this was the summer going into my senior year, 45.9. So I went from 44s, 43s to 45, like every single time. If I would have learned that one thing, earlier.
So just flat footed.
Because I jumped 6'4" in high jump, and so I won the dunk contest. I was a natural jumper.
Right.
I just didn't know how to use it, So, and my coach, Dean Winter, great guy. He told me, he's like, I don't know, I'm learning with you. That's respectable. I'd rather him say that and say, oh, well, this is what it's like, I don't know, we're gonna learn together. So there's no hard feelings at all. He loved me. That's all I needed at that time,
Man, yeah.
And so, so that was that first thing is I watched that. Then got to Orange Coast College. Eric Moreno was my hurdle coach. Coach Hodge was my high jump coach and horizontal. And that was when I learned how to triple jump. Flat footed. I learned all of the basics. I ended up jumping 50 feet one. I improved 1 foot per week my sophomore year.
Okay.
So the last 5 meets went from 45 to 50 and then 49.9 at state.
As a sophomore?
At the sophomore.
Okay.
So my freshman year, I was still in basketball in freshman year. So I came out the track literally not in shape at all.
freshman year of college.
Of college. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
I
Okay,
did
freshman
one more
sophomore.
year.
Yeah,
I did one more year in college as a freshman, played basketball and did track. And so that was that with for that year. Got to Cal State LA with Sheila Hudson. I mean, everything that you need to know about jumping, she literally has everything. Man. A lot of the drills we do that I do are inspired by her.
From her. Okay.
The expectations, the mentality, everything. Went from 50 feet to 51.1. Yeah, and it was 51 like 50 feet every jump.
Yeah.
You know, it was consistent. And then I took a year off after Cal State LA. Okay. Trained myself and just put myself through all the training you guys see.
Yeah.
I physically did every single workout.
Nice.
You know, and try something different. And then 51.8 I did at Outdoor Nationals 2010, and then 52.5 the next year. And then everything kind of just did this the rest of the way.
Sure. Yeah. So honestly, assess yourself. Do you feel like you're capable of more than 1598 and things just didn't line up? Or do you feel like that was kind of like you did everything you could and got to that your peak, you know?
I probably could have broken the world record.
No, let's go. Let's go.
I probably could have, because I jumped at 195.
Oh, right.
6'2", 195.
Big jumper. Yeah.
Right. So only person that I had that to look up to was Eric Wilson, who was 6'2", 6'3", 205.
Or like Samir Lane.
Yeah, right. And so ironically, Samir Lane and I are similar body types when it comes to frame size, right? Mm-hmm. And I had so much power, you know.
Yeah.
So if basically that whole thing of if I knew now what I, you know, or I knew, you know what I mean, that phrase.
Yep. I knew that what I know now.
Yeah, then I would have jumped so far. I mean, I'm watching my drop leg not drop. I'm watching my entry. I'm like, you know, but that's me, my stubbornness and wanting to do it my way is what led to that. So I took responsibility and give it back.
Exactly. Yeah. And I was just going to say, that's the thing, is like, you didn't just like mope around and be like, well, I can't go back and change myself. You were like, no, I'm going to take what I know now and help the next generation be able to get to their personal best, or like their peak, you know, capability and stuff. So that's awesome. All right. So when you said that you learned everything you need to know about triple jump from Sheila Hudson, what are those like primary basic fundamental takeaways that you use now with all your athletes teaching someone triple jump?
Man, the first thing that stands out is the expectation to be great.
The expectation to be great. So you're saying you want them to have that expectation?
Yeah. Track and field, honestly, like the sport, I don't care about it. You know, it's just like a vessel to showcase who you are as a person.
Dude.
Right?
Yes.
And so just here's an example, right?
Yeah.
We had 5 triple jumpers on the top 5 in our conference. And then 3 of us were at nationals and 2 of us were in the final. Granted, it's Division II, so it's the same type of level, just less depth, right?
Yeah.
Just less overall bodies at the high level, right?
Yep.
But that year that we were at nationals, our top 5 were better than the top 5 for D1.
Yeah.
So, because Brandon Brulak was the champion that year, he jumped 55 and change.
Oh, dang.
He eventually jumped further than that.
Yeah.
You know, so we just had this mentality to where we not only believed in ourselves, but we knew the day it was going to happen.
Yeah.
Like we were going to achieve these on this day at this time. Here's proof. I'm going to show you this in 6 months, you know, and we were called the elevators. So we elevated our standards we just put ourselves in a whole nother level. Just that mentality is what we really stuck with. To me, that was the most impactful part that she gave us, is that expectation.
That's awesome. And I know that you had all your kids fill out goal sheets and stuff, you know, each season. Is that from her? Is that from that experience?
No, that part isn't. Yeah, that's just from the things that I've learned and realized it's not real until it's written down.
All right. So number 1 is the expectation to be great. What's 2?
Being prepared.
Be prepared.
We probably did the most amount of run-throughs I've ever done in my life. Like,
yeah,
we did so many run-throughs of just keeping ourselves in position, being prepared.
yeah.
You know, Sheila Hudson was a 5-time national champion, all 4 years at Cal, and then 1 indoor, I believe.
Wow. Okay.
And you can't teach winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can win,
True.
but you can't teach that. You can't teach that. But I want to say it was just the details. Now, what I see coaches do is an athlete makes a mistake. Hey, you're not holding your face. Duh. I know. What do I do? You gotta hold it. What does hold it mean?
Right.
What does it mean? Like what 10 steps do I do with my body to make hold it a reality?
Yes.
You know, stop telling me what I'm doing wrong. Like I see it. I feel it. You watched me fall.
Yep.
You know, so it's like, you know, so she would break it all down without video.
Yeah.
She wouldn't record us.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
So she would see it live.
Yeah.
And then say, here's the things you got to do, adjust these things, and then take that back and we'll do a drill for those things, and then come back and jump. We never jumped on the hard runway. We were always in flats. We had a rollout that rolled on top of the pit. Okay. So we had less impact. So we were healthier. Just those small little details. So very detail oriented.
Yeah.
And knew her craft.
All right. So
yeah, I think those are 2 main ones.
Expectation to be great and being prepared. I love that it wasn't anything even like triple jump specific. Like it was just general mindset.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that's how you approach all areas of life?
Yep. Every like, to me, in my mind, everything is a reflection of my thoughts. So if I'm dealing with life issues as a person, but I'm a coach, I'm going to see that exposed in my coaching with my athletes. If I'm aware of, you know, if I'm happy, I'm going to have a happy team.
Yeah.
You know, and so I never blame my athletes or my team for being disruptive. They're not talking back because they're talking back because I'm not giving them something.
Yeah.
And so of course I could say, well, it's not my fault that they're acting this way. But in reality, if I take ownership of the way that they're acting, then I can also adjust and fix it. And if they're doing everything that we perceive as right, that means that I've adjusted and fixed it, or I do the things that they're looking for.
Right.
I just take ownership on everything in my life, and you know.
Well, and then with that mentality, you're focusing on the person too, rather than the athlete. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're focusing on them as a whole, as a human, making them better, and then that in turn kind of like helps them be a better athlete.
Correct. The athlete part ends.
Yeah.
Like you're only, like, if you think about the whole 4 seasons of life, every 25 years, right?
Yeah.
You're only an athlete for the first 25, the first quarter.
Sheesh. Yeah.
So it's like, so what? So you broke through a record. What'd you do with it? You have an award on the wall and your name is written in the books. Yeah. Like, what are you doing as a legacy? What's past, you know? So like for me, it's like my goal is to win a Nobel Peace Prize in like education, or just a way of learning, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't want to be just on this podcast, right? And they watch it and they go, that's a good idea. It's like, well, no, I want to be able to say, this is what I did, and here's a blueprint of ideas of what you could do too. You know, and then you do your own thing, and then it just continues to go. You don't got to follow my process. This is just my journey, you know, but it's like, it's just the platform to say, you can do whatever you want to, you know.
We just took that to a whole nother level. No. This went from a track and field podcast to a philosophy class right now. That's awesome though. All right. So besides that, and maybe this will be the answer, but what is your favorite part about coaching, track and field specifically?
The interaction with the kids, you know, basically being a part of the I told you so world is amazing.
What do you mean?
Like when they write down a goal and then they achieve it, like they're just like, I did it. And I'm like, yes, you did. I know you were going to do it. I was just waiting for you to do it this year, not 5 years from now.
Yeah.
You know, and then also when they tell me later on all their successes, It's just great to see them succeed and to be a part of that journey. And to say, hey, you know, like I was there in the trenches with you when you picking your nose and flicking boogers on the wall, and then now look at you signing autographs, or you know, you own your own business, or like Ryan Finney, you're now a pilot. You know, it's like for me, it's like those things are exciting. You know, that's exciting to me.
Dude, you are one of a kind. That is for sure. All right. So what are some things that you wish you knew when you started, or that you wish you could tell your younger self as a coach, whether track practical or life?
Yeah. Step out of reality. Yeah. Because I was only as good as my environment. So I was one of the best athletes like at the school. I broke the conference record. I broke all the records there. The coaches told me you're going to be one of the best in the state, and I was. But I'm thinking, but what if I would have told myself I would be the best in the world? You know, like I was as good as my coaches told me until I finished college. And then I told me how good I was going to be.
Yeah. Yes.
You know, but now I'm like, oh man, if I would have if I would have known, let's not shoot for the record, which was 6'2" or 6'3". Let's shoot for, you know, 7'12".
Yes.
Make up a number, like you know, 85 feet in high jump. Like, of course, it's out there, but it's like we have self-driving cars. Really? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like video games back in the day were like 16-bit, and I was like, "That's the best graphics ever." You know, it's like I would just back then I would tell myself, whatever you like think of is possible.
Yeah.
And then that would probably be the most thing I would say. You want to be a state champion? Great. How many times?
Yeah.
You know.
So anytime a kid tells you something like that, you basically push beyond and you say like, what else? Or what else? Like you never say like, that's a good goal.
Well, yeah. Well, I do say it's a good goal because that's where their belief is.
Yeah.
You know, but I do push them and say,
you try to stretch their belief.
Yeah. Because I ask them that sometimes. I had an athlete tell me, you know, I want to jump 35 feet in triple jump. I'm like, that's good. Got it. Wrote it down. Like, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Then I said, okay, so are you okay with not making league finals? Just, you know, 34 feet in our league, it's not going to make league finals. So are you okay with, as a senior, your season ends at the last track meet against one of our dual meets?
Yeah.
And she'll obviously be like, well, no, no.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to league? Yeah. Okay. So then let's look at the list of the previous years. What number would you want to adjust it to? And go from there.
Yeah.
You know, Dominic Rutolo told me, I want to jump 50 feet as a freshman.
Let's go.
And I said, okay. And so I looked at it as, I told her, I'm like, I got to get better as a coach.
Yeah.
And she's on her way. She's at 44.9, 44.10.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time.
Yeah.
A matter of time.
That's amazing. That's cool too, how like by you pushing the athletes to believe more, it requires you to then step up and be better too. I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Before we started, you were talking about how faith applies to track and field. Talk more about that. Okay.
When I mean faith, I just say that in a very loose term because everyone has their own beliefs. You know, religious beliefs, beliefs on sexuality, whatever. And I say, whatever you choose is your choice. And I support it because that's your truth. I'm never going to ever debate anyone's truth.
Sure. Yeah.
And so when I say faith in this specific aspect is just blind belief within yourself.
Sure.
And so our mind works in a space of, I can tell you what to do from what I've done. I can tell you, hey, realistically, you're a freshman, maybe 6 feet high jump can get you like maybe. Yeah. And that's true. Right. Because from right now, from the past, I've never seen X, Y, and Z. So in my reality, you know, and so my thing is, but what if you can be like Dennis Rodman and grow a foot over your when you're 20.
Yeah.
Like you have no idea. So like my thing is, whatever we say as adults, the kids listen to us and believe us.
Yeah.
And so it's, if we say, hey, sure, whatever you want, you know? So when it comes to the faith is, I've learned that there's like this train of belief, that there's an idea, there's a perception, and then there's an expectation or a belief, right?
Sure.
And so the idea is, I think I can, you know, jump 50 feet this year. And then you'll do things that are consistent with that idea, which kind of prove your idea is true, right? And you go, oh man, like, hey, so now that starts to build the momentum, right? And then you get into this perception like, hey, you know, this idea that I had, it's like starting to come along. Like I perceive that I'm going to be at 46 in a few weeks. And then 46 happens. You're like, oh, like, I did it. Like, hey, you know what? Like, hey, 47's on the way. I know it. And then all of a sudden 49 comes, right? And then you got 49, you're like, listen, 50 feet is like tomorrow, like next track meet. I already know it. You know what? I'm going to plan my dinner plans to celebrate. I'm going to write my Instagram posts and story. I'm going to like be ready to go. And then it happens, right? And so now you're in this place of like, I know, like if I'm hungry, I get up, go get food. I don't worry about food. I don't worry about, am I going to eat? I go do it. But what if our goals that we have are that level of, I'm going to have a gold medal in the next 4 years. Like, I'll see you there. Right. I already booked my hotel room.
Ooh,
right. You know, like most of us don't do that. You can cancel for free. But what if you already book your hotel room right now for the Olympics, next Olympics? Like the universe starts to do things in your favor for that, you know. But the scary part is we also do that on the other end.
How so?
We have an idea. Oh, what if, oh, you know what? The top 5 hurdlers in the state are running at Arcadia. Like I made it, I'm in lane 1, but they're gonna run fast. And you lose. Oh man, like, you know, hey, I'm in another big race. Like I'm gonna try my best. We'll see what happens, you know? And then you lose again. Now it becomes perception. And it keeps rolling down like, man, like I've been trying with my hamstring and it's just like hard. Like I gotta work a job now, you know, like it's just a lot going on. Now I expect to lose. And we're so far on those extremes, it's a hard place. And it's like, you can't just go from one to the other. Once that train is moving fast, you're not gonna hop in front of an actual physical train, try to stop it. You gotta slow it down step by step. So it's going from that belief, working it back down and trying to disprove that perception, trying to disprove that belief. And then once you're back at neutral, then you keep going the other way. So it's a lot more steps to go from a negative way of thinking to a positive way, which is what a lot of athletes are dealing with now, which is that depression. And we're seeing a lot of athletes deal with this because we as coaches are pushing. We got a short season. We got to jump far. We got to run fast. It's like, no, we got a short season. Let's enjoy this season. Let's have fun. You know, we got 6 weeks. Perfect. Let's see what we can do in 6 weeks. We can training total. See, we'll get our new PR from a 6-week training program. You know, I'll leave it there. I know I'm talking a lot, but that's
no, that's great. I'm like curious. So you said, you know, kids are dealing with depression and this kind of like stress and anxiety more so now than before. And I think anybody out there would agree with you. What do you think some of the factors are that are bringing that about?
Social media. For me, like growing up, I dealt with racism. I dealt with bullies, all that stuff, right? But back in the day, someone would be like, you're ugly, right? And we'd be like, who said that? And the kid be like, I said it. Like it's a physical person speaking to you. You know, now we have all these passive ways to be negative. You know, it's like I might post a video and maybe this is like, you know, to the side. And then someone does a parody or jokes around like, oh, you know, this is Coach Briggs with the shirt. Like at the end of the day, it's I may perceive that as negative. It's a joke to you, but then it's still a negative to me. Right. Or comments. If you read some of my comments on my 23-mile-per-hour run, it's because he's black and he's fast, or the cops are chasing him, you know. But it's like but what if I actually read the messages? Like, what if I actually sat down and were to read them and take it to heart and say, why would they say that? And all these other thoughts that go around in my head, it'd be such a big issue for me. I'm the only one that has control over my emotions. You know, so a lot of the kids now think I'm as good as the amount of comments, likes, and shares that I have. Or if I'm going to a school, a small name D3 school in Middle America, but it's not going to get as many likes. People don't know about that because my friends are going to North Carolina, but I'm going to North Carolina, Greensboro or something like that. And they think it's less than. It's like, it's not. You're continuing your education and you're competing at a college level. That is a blessing, so it's the mentality that's kind of happening. And we get to learn and understand how social media affects these kids. And we get to change our coaching style because all the drills that we did for football are the ones that are banned now. Right. So it's just a different time, different generation.
Space, for sure. Generation. So I mean, it's interesting because it's like, just like what you're saying, it's that belief cycle, working backwards now. But instead of just your mind saying, oh no, there's those 5 guys, you got thousands of people and people you don't even know saying, well, you're not any good, or this or that. So it seems now very important to go back to what you were saying. As coaches, we got to be the voice to be like, no, block that stuff out and focus on what you can control. So kind of staying on that topic, coaching in a digital world, how would you say the internet has changed coaching for you? Because, you've been doing it now for a while and internet has gotten a lot better since when you started. What are the biggest ways it's changed?
The biggest ways it's changed is more of a platform. During season, I'm at 90,000 views a month and it's continuous every year. It's the same videos, it's the same traction. And I'm like, these are 10-year-old videos. But there's another athlete who's at that beginning stage of learning, and that video is what changes their life.
Right.
So that video that I watched as a junior going to my senior year for bounding, like, that's the impact that they're getting from some of my videos or other coaches' videos.
Right.
And so that information is great because you can get all this information. 2 is I market the heck out of my athletes.
Like, dude, I
spend time editing, like learning how to vlog, all that stuff. Because there's a coach in Wisconsin, right, that knows I'm not going to get a California kid out here. Right. Or odds are I'm not going to. They're not used to the climate. But what if there's a kid that was from a cold state, moves to California, really wants to move back, but hasn't gotten any opportunities, but that coach needs that athlete wants to go there. Well, I just posted a quick interview of the athlete. And the athlete says, oh, I was actually born in Wisconsin. The coach goes, hey, what's up? And there's that communication, there's opportunity.
That's awesome.
Social media is very, very beneficial. It's great to learn, to see new things, to get you out of your box, to compare. There are state champions that wouldn't even be on varsity on my team. So it's like, but seeing that, it just stretches your expectations, stretches your reality.
For sure.
And so equally on the flip side is everyone is saying things in or out of context. So you have to decipher what's valid and what's not. And we younger kids may not know how to decipher what's right and what's wrong. Because I tell my kids, I want you to run flat-footed, right? But I teach that concept to set them up so I can adjust them later. But if they, go home and say, oh my, coach said run flat-footed, and then the parents are supposed to be on your toes, then, it's like, it's in context.
Exactly.
So, but I think it's a huge benefit. I think it's great. I think it's connecting us. This conversation is the benefit of it. So I'm all for social media. And that's where I think, having that consultant or that professional or the mentor to say, okay, here's all the videos you watched. Let's cipher through and talk about what you think is best for you and how you're going to implement it for your training.
As far as technology as well, like, are there any tools that have come out recently that you use that have been a major benefit because of technology, or is it kind of an empty space currently?
No, it's been like a lot. So I record a lot.
Okay.
And so I'll record an athlete competing or jumping, and then I'll be able to show them and coach them. So, I'll have 30, 40 jumpers with the high school.
Yeah.
And they're just moving. And so instead of watching one, talking to one, spending, 45 seconds with that one athlete,
right.
and then trying to figure out 45 seconds per jump per athlete, I just go do the same drill. Okay, I've noticed you do the same flaw 3 times in a row. I'm going to then go home, critique that video of your jump, explain to you what's happening, and give you solutions, and then send that to you. You guys can watch that video on demand and watch it over and over and over again.
That is awesome. What do you use for that to send? Just like regular, like email or something like that, or
through YouTube? I'll upload to YouTube and then I'll send them.
And then they just gotcha.
Yeah. So I don't even use a specific like Coach's Eye or all these like huddle. I could if I wanted to put vectors and angles, all that stuff.
Sure.
To me, that's just more time.
Yeah.
Like the message is your knee needs to be higher. Yeah. I want it at this level.
Yeah.
And I'll have a video with an athlete doing it correctly. Or at practice, there's probably an athlete that is doing it correctly and say, hey, follow Jazz. Jazz has it right. Take this one element, but don't take her step A's.
Yeah.
Take, Jonathan's step A's, and then they understand that concept.
Gotcha. Is there anything you wish that existed today for coaches that doesn't exist in the jumping world?
Oh man, good question. Probably just more coaching tools for like volunteers, and parents. At the youth level, there's more volunteer coaches than there are professionals. At the high school level, there's more teachers coaching than professionals.
Yep.
At the college level, there's more grad assistants teaching than professionals.
Oh wow! Yeah, I didn't realize that one.
It's inverted. Okay. So the big paychecks go to the college coaches, which you would think makes sense.
Yeah.
But there's less demographics. There's less athletes.
Right.
You go to the youth, track meets take a week and they're 12 hours long.
Right. Yeah.
There's a bunch of kids that are running track, but who coaches them?
Yeah.
Parents,
Yep.
And so they're not getting the quality level of coaching, which is why I haven't gone up to the college level. It is like, if I'm servicing 150 kids per year, why would I cut it down to 8? It makes no sense to me.
Yep.
At all. But if I'm getting a $2,000 stipend for coaching high school and spending 80 hours a week with these kids, because you don't just coach, you're doing so much more.
Oh man.
It's like I want to give up that 85 cents per hour to go make some money at the college level so I can actually live off that money.
Sure.
So it's backwards, and that's the reason why we're having so much trouble with depth in our U23 division. Because they're swallowed up by the institution of free sports in college.
Yeah, that's a big one.
There's a lot to that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just more resources basically for the beginning parents, which is what I'm working on now.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. And that's why like I even found you on YouTube when I started coaching 4 years ago. I was like, all right, let's see what is out there. And you were like, at least you were the only entertaining one, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you.
and so like, I learned a bunch just from watching like the vlogs. They were amazing because it was literally like unstructured, just video of how you ran your practice. And it was hilarious, obviously, because the kids you work with are hilarious. You're basically like a big brother to them. So, it was fun to watch, but then, you were giving them good advice, good tips. And I think what your vlogs did was it helped me and other people learn how to coach. Obviously we watched the drills and got good drills from you too, but like, there's drills all over the internet, but learning how to take those drills and explain it to kids and make it an enjoyable practice. Cause so to make it enjoyable, and I'm glad you did it.
Well, thank you, because like, I don't really get much feedback from the video.
That's surprising.
From the vlogs, like people say, oh, it's fun, and then so that feedback is great, because in my head I'm like, I know people are like, they're enjoying it and they're seeing it. Like, I didn't do it for any other reason other than I was like, I want to show people what I deal with every day.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I deal with these characters every single day.
Yeah.
And I know we all have the same story.
Right.
You know, it's just saying like, hey, that one crazy guy and girl that you have, I had 3 of those too.
Right.
You know, it's like it's fun, and it's like we're all the same. We're all doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
We all have the same buttons of stop reaching for the board. Next button, stop stuttering. You know, like oh my gosh, get your head out of your butt and compete. Like we all have that same stuff.
Yeah.
One thing I noticed that at the high school level is I coach across the track. I don't need to come to the athlete and say, okay, I want you to do these things. Like I don't hide my NFL coaches. I don't hide the play. Playbook. It's like, no, this is the play. Do these 3 things and you jump. And I know every coach is hearing it. Right. You know, and so I'll look around and I'm the only person like yelling across the track of the exact things that I gotta say. Cause I'm like, we all need to like, I don't have anything to hide. Your athlete is great, a good athlete. If your athlete wins, great. But until then, this athlete's gonna take it because the information's here. You know? And when I was coaching Dami during her gap year and in her junior year with the college athletes coaches, I noticed the same trend. Is that we as coaches are so like secretive of our strategies and our tips. It's like, but if you're only using those tips for your 8 athletes you have, you're a disservice to our community as track. And so I've had many coaches say, hey, you're giving up too many videos. I got 1,000 videos online, you know, and they're like, it's too many things. And they're like, I'll go to nationals and they'll say, hey, coach, my athlete made it to nationals just with support of your videos. Like, I know what I'm doing already as a coach, but you explained it a way that she got it. Right. Like, I get it, but she got it easy. Yes. You know, and they're like, now we're at nationals. And I'm like, that's great. Like, for me, it's like, hey, my video just earned you an extra paycheck. Right. You know, because your athlete made the state and you got a bonus because each week your athlete went. So it's like, I'm not saying I brought you money. What I'm saying is we taught an athlete and you got money created out of thin air because we both put our minds together to help the athlete. Right. And now your athlete's at nationals, which means he or she might get another 4 more years to compete and live out their dream. And in college, it might be free or might be supported. And they can figure out now what they want to do next while they're in college. It's a circle of life. It's love. It's, you know. Right, for sure. Sharing, like it helps others, but it also helps you. Like it helps everyone. So, the other thing too, like you were saying, is like some people learn differently. So like the way that you coach connects really well with me and thousands of other people, but somebody else might be like, well, I don't really get it the way he's explaining it. So somebody else explaining it a different way will help that person. So it's just like, I think it's important for everybody to share all of their ways of, you know, learning and teaching. And so, because there's so many differences in people and learning styles and stuff. So, okay. All right. So you no longer coach for Modern Day specifically, but you still coach with Leap Squad, your track club. What is right now for you and what's next? Like, give us the state of the union for Keinan Briggs. All right, here we go. So yeah, no longer with Modern Day. The flood of love. I was like, okay, y'all do love me, you know, because I mean, it was every single school called. That's so awesome. I went on actual visits to schools. I was actually like that close to signing, right? Yep. And then I just thought about it and I said, okay, what do I want? You know, like, what do I want? And my thing is time. Yeah. Like, I want my time because, mind you, I was at that extreme with Dami 4 or 5 hours a day. Yeah. Whether it was training or just being her support. Yeah. That gap year and the other year. With my club team, track meets are Saturday and Sunday. And then high school, which is 5 days of practice and track meets 1 to 2 times a week. Yeah. So I was up to 4 track meets a week. Sheesh. You know, and some of the track meets I was flying to. So it was a full thing. And so I said, I need my time, you know. Yep. And I said, I want to work with more kids and have more time to live and enjoy life, to keep my quality of life up. Yep. And so I said that I can't coach high school. You know, and I said, well, what is that going to do for my number of athletes? So I was nervous in the beginning.
Yeah.
And my athlete numbers doubled.
No way.
So I'm at 150 or so athletes that I'm working with across the United States, you know, so I'm like, I'm good.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And when it comes like financially, I'm financially now in a place where I see the money's reflecting my value.
Oh, let's go.
Right.
Yeah.
So I can control that.
Yep.
And then, so with the club team now is I worked with every modern day athlete when I was there.
Yep.
So I was with them from the summer all the way until about January. And then the other assistant coaches will come out and we would split up. So now that that's gone, some of the athletes from modern day joined my club team.
Ah, sure.
So mind you, Leap Squad wasn't for modern day. Leap Squad.
Right. It was separate. Yep.
Correct.
Yep.
And I guess I didn't explain it correctly, but a lot of people thought that the Leap Squad was the modern day kids.
The modern day Leap Squad.
No, yeah, the modern day kids, like they have funds to pay for a private school.
Right.
And other kids don't. So I was servicing the other kids who don't, so that they can still pay a fee, but it's not the price of a private school.
Right.
You know, to get the same quality level of coaching.
Right.
You know, so long-winded to answer your question is right now, the focus is to grow Leap Squad. I really would like to have a full team for every age group, just how soccer, hockey, baseball, you know, all that stuff is, and have a designated coach for every single level.
Wow, that's
and
awesome.
To create a curriculum to where the coaches can learn my base philosophy and then create their program within my program to give them the experience to go off and do whatever they want to do next.
Okay.
So a feeder system for coaches, essentially.
Yeah, that's great.
And so that's what's happening for this year.
Okay.
And then moving forward is in the next few years, I will have a full stadium, a full facility to host and run track meets, to train the club teams, all that stuff, like a full stadium.
Renting one, you're saying? Or
owning
it. That's yes, dude. I love that.
I was actually charged or going to be charged $1,000 to host a practice at a high school for the practice.
For one practice?
Yeah, because the stadiums are housed on a high school.
Right.
And it's typically held or owned by the district.
Oh, sure.
So now I would have to go to the district and say, hey, can I use your your facility? They say, sure. And then now I have to then go to the high school, and I can only use it outside of the high school's hours of usage.
Right.
And so it's always busy. But if you were to go to a track, it's empty 90% of the time. From 8 o'clock until about 2 o'clock, it's empty because no one's on it, or maybe kids are on PPE, but you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
It's mostly empty. So they're just being wasted. So that when we rent them, they want to make the money off of us to rent the facility and say, oh, we need $1,000 because that track costs $1 million just to service.
Right.
You know, and so it's not ran the correct way. But however, like the Ocean Breeze is owned by I believe it's the Boys and Girls Club or YMCA.
Okay.
You have the Armory in New York. You have a lot of these facilities that are designed for the public usage. Yeah. You know, and it's like, we just need more of those. And I was in New Orleans over Christmas, and there's a park, I think it's Jim Brown or something park, JB Park. Okay. It's in New Orleans East. Yeah. And they have a football stadium. They have a full track facility, and it's just a park. That's awesome. But they allow it to the public to be able to use and rent out. And I don't know the rates, but that's what we need more of. And in California, where I am, we don't have it. I know other states do, but here we don't. So
we have it here. We have, like public facilities, but it's still not the same. And especially in the winter time, like this, like there's very limited indoor facilities. So to be able to get something that is indoor, I think would be the goal for us here. So I get the problem though of like access to tracks is just not as good as I would like it to be. Yeah. So
I mean, there's a basketball court on every park. There's skate parks every few blocks. Right. There's tennis courts everywhere. Yeah. Soccer fields, literally any patch of grass can work. Right. But then a track, it's one every county. Yeah. If that. Right. So it's like, let's just reassess And you know, if people aren't understanding it, that's fine. I'll create it, and then people will understand it then, like Leapfest.
Yeah.
They, you know, it wasn't happening, and now it is, and we can now say, oh, Leapfest, because squad wasn't a term that was used a lot. It wasn't. So when I said Leap Squad, now there's Jump Squad, there's, you know, Hop Squad, right? There's all these squads, and it's like, I don't take offense to it. It's like, great.
Yeah.
Like, let's keep, I don't even need credit for it. Like, none of this stuff. Just like,
sure.
Great. That means that I had an idea and it's working.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a team out here that now hosts the Jump Fest.
Okay. Right.
Right.
Yep.
It's like, great.
It's
Run
so
it.
good. Yeah.
You know, like I don't own the idea of a jumps only meet. I didn't even create it. I just created one here.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and I'm running it the way that I see fit.
Yeah.
It's like, keep doing it. Like, you're not stealing. Like, at the end of the day, if I have 150 athletes and you have another 150, that's 300 athletes. Yes. We together created, you know, more opportunity for these kids.
Yep.
So
love it. So, okay. So future is to own your own facility. Big picture, like goals wise. I know you wanna win a Nobel Peace Prize. Yeah. But like, what's your kind of like 10, 20 year goals, or like, you know, when you look back on life, you're like, yes, this is what I want to have accomplished.
Okay. So 20 years from now, this is what I've already accomplished.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 10 facilities worldwide, 4 in the US. I've created a league for post-collegiate athletes.
You have one facility in Wisconsin.
There you go. One in Wisconsin, right? And which actually makes sense location wise, right?
Right.
And then 10 worldwide, and to be able to have another league for athletes to compete at. For post-collegiate.
Like track league, or like the American Track League or USATF or something like that?
Because the American Track League rents out facilities.
Oh, okay, right.
So they're paying a lot of money out.
Right.
Right. But there's land everywhere. So, I mean, Kanye West had 4,000 acres. A track can fit in there.
Oh,
you know? And so obviously there's a lot of money in his account, but money comes out of thin air. Money grows on trees.
Amen.
So, you know, it's just being in that space where all these things can happen. So that's my vision. Okay. And just to change, just bring more opportunity, because my goal is to empower the youth through the avenue of sports, so that the kids can live a life of peace, love, and abundance.
Let's go.
So those 10 facilities, I would love to have an academy that it's an extension of school to where they're learning time management, where they're learning perception, they're learning how to handle adversity and stress. They don't offer this in class. You know, they teach history, math, and science, but they don't teach, you know, dealing with negative thoughts. Therapists do. Right. But why aren't these like, we know these are relevant, why aren't these a class? You know, so that's what I want to bring in. And the reason why I'm so passionate about the other things, because I majored in communication. Right. Like I don't have a degree in kinesiology. I'm not a CSCS. Right. And so one could argue and say, well, you don't know what you're talking about, which you could say that's your belief, right? But yet you're watching my videos and using some of the drills that I have in following some of my success that I've had with athletes. Because of that. So it's like, I'd rather have a doctor that has experience in surgery versus a doctor that knows how to do it, but hasn't done it.
Yes.
You know, so
1,000%.
You know, it's like, of course, a doctor, you want
both. Yeah.
So I'm working on that part of it. But as of right now, the success that I've had is me self-teaching. A lot of our world leaders and people that changed our world didn't even graduate high school or even elementary. So we can't just say school is the only way. However, school is needed because it teaches the basics, and then you venture off into wherever else you want to go.
Right. I think you would agree. I'm going to change the statement. It's not necessarily that school is needed, but education, and learning is needed, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So and so what you're doing with this academy would be like, you're just teaching people to learn your way, just like you done with Leap Squad and or Leapfest and everything.
Yeah.
Nice. Dude, I'm pumped for the next 20 years.
Yeah, me too, man. And hopefully it's not 20 years. I want to get this done sooner.
Let's go. Why not? Let's do it. All right. Well, I feel like we skipped past all the like little stuff, build up stuff, and we just went right into the meat of this conversation. So I'm trying to think, like, where do I even go from here?
Okay, well, I have a funny story. Okay, so the start of Leapfest or Leap Squad Track Club was different. So I had two athletes that I was training that they said, I have a track meet coming up in the spring. I want to get better for that meet. So we trained, and supportive, I just went to the track meet and watched them do the thing.
Yeah.
They won everything. Like I think they both did 3 events and they won all 3. And it wasn't like qualified rounds. It was like you had to win top 2 to advance.
Okay.
As in, you're not seeded. It was just whoever's in the race, you got to beat them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And so I was like, my athletes look different. They're in the 3-point stance. Like, like they just look different. And I was like, that sucks. That it's just those 2 kids that are this good.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, I want to be able to do a clinic for the kids and just say, okay, here are the 4 events you're going to do this at the meet. And I'm going to show you some ideas of how to make that more effective.
Yeah.
And so I put together a proposal, a whole pitch, and I called the Irvine Children's Fund, and I was like, hey, can I meet you? And I had my little iPad or whatever. And I was like, yeah, it's Keinan Briggs. And I had a little presentation. Yeah. And then she was like, yeah, let's do it. So then she sent out an email blast. Kids come, and I was expecting like 40, something like that, kids. 350 kids, 4th through 6th graders showed up. I looked up from the scores table, right? I look up, and it's like The Walking Dead. Like, it was just a bunch of
just a wave of kids.
Right. And I was like, oh my gosh. So they come, and I probably had like 5 or 6 of my high school athletes come to support just in case, and I needed them.
Yeah.
So when that event finished, a gentleman came up to me, and he was like, hey, do you do like private training or whatever? Because my daughter really needs more training. Yeah. And his name was Frank Rutolo.
No way. That's how you got it.
I was like, yeah, So then spring break came up. Coach Art, who's the coach now at Mater Dei, was a senior that year. And so
in high school?
In high school, yep.
Oh, okay.
Right. So I was training them. And then Dami and Titan, the younger brother, came. And the other athletes who I worked with. And we trained. I was like, hey, well, there's a meet at the, in the summer for the California State Games that we have out here.
Okay.
And they did that. And Frank was like, well, is there more? Because, the son, Titan, went from, I think, 12 feet to 15 that in those 2 months, right?
Yeah.
Dami fouled a 17-foot jump. Mind you, she was jumping 12, but finished at 14 something.
Yeah.
And the reason why she was scared to jump 17 was because Tara Davis happened to jump 18.6 on the other runway. And Dami was like, she just jumped 18. She's better than me. I'm done with track.
Yeah.
That was her actual word, right?
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God. So then so I named us the Leap Squad Track Club for that track meet. Mm-hmm. It said, team name. And I was like, I don't know. And I was like, Leap, Lead, Elevate, Achieve, and Prevail. And then that's where it started.
Yeah.
Right. And then the rest kept going. Like so it started from me giving.
Yeah.
And that's what came back. And Dami was the face of Leap Squad for many years.
Yeah.
She went from 12 feet and is now at 19 something and 44.9.
Yeah.
I told her from this day, like, you're probably going to be my first Olympian.
Yeah.
And so the funny story in it was Titan, who has been in the shadow this whole time.
Right.
He's the guy to watch out for. Yeah. Because when Dami did her gap year, not the gap year, the the homeschool year in 2017, her junior high school year.
Yep.
Titan, mind you, had only jumped 39.9 the previous year.
Yeah.
And I sent him to college track meets. The board is 40 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm like, bro, you need to be great like today, the first meet. Right. And oh yeah, by the way, Andy's doing short approach, just so you know. Like,
oh geez.
I'm starting you off.
Right.
Anyway, long story short, like he went from 39.9 to 43.8 that season. So he had the same improvement Dami did.
Yeah.
Never once got shook. Mind you, he was 15 at college. You know, so you know, had no issues with that, just did his thing.
Yeah.
But the part that's funny is fast forward, he's now a junior. He just won CIF in 2018. He went 47.8, I think, or 46 something. All right. And then he ends up qualifying for New Balance Outdoor Nationals.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In North Carolina, right? And so Frank was like, okay, I got tickets for you guys. You guys got to fly out Tuesday for a Sunday track meet.
Let's go.
And I was like, oh, I got to miss all that time. I was like, okay. So at this time, like I had been with that family since they were 11. So it had been like 6 years that I've been around their family. My mom lived with them. So like, they were like my niece and nephew, basically. Like, family, right?
Kind of, yep.
So like I'm out and just me and Titan, and I'm like the chaperone, and like I'm just there all week hanging out with a teenager, you know. So I was like, oh my God. And so I'm like trying to just like have him enjoy the, you know, the time out there, but also stay focused for the meet.
Yeah.
And fast forward, we get to the meet. First jump, he's running, he's ready to go. He fouls by like a couple inches. And I was like, you're good. Like, get 2 more jumps, ready to go. Next jump runs down. Beautiful jump, foul. Right. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna back you up a lot.
Yeah.
Just to get you a fair jump.
Get one in,
Yeah. And he fouls that one. Like he didn't finish the jump. And I was thinking, it's Sunday. And we've been out here since Tuesday morning, and you came out here to foul. And on top of that, we flew out of South Carolina.
Okay.
So we had to drive to the next state, and that flight was canceled. And it was just a trip that I was like, you know what? Titan, just quit.
Oh no.
You got to quit the sport now. You know, like you got so I always tease him about that. Yeah. The next year, he had some growing pains.
Sure.
He was just like maturing, things like that.
Yeah.
But he ends up jumping 47.8.
Okay.
Which is decent, but he was ready to jump 50 feet.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
At that time. So
yeah.
Is
he competing still now, or is he done?
He's a sophomore at UC Riverside.
Okay, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So he was at Leapfest. He brought his clothing line friend of me.
Oh, did he?
Out there.
No way.
Yeah. He said he sold out. He's doing some great things. He's super creative, and he's going to do a lot of things trendy that are huge. So
awesome. That's great. Have you, I mean, it seems like it from a distance, but have you been like maintained some of those relationships with the athletes that have now graduated and moved on, like, and basically you have friends now? Yeah,
literally, like everyone comes back.
Yeah.
Everybody. Yeah, like that's how you know, like you built a bond.
Yeah,
is when you know the families and coaches call.
Yeah,
Sophia Sharmonte. Like we have dinner, and Sophia's not even there. Just the family. Just the family. Oh. You know, it's stuff like that. You know,
that's great.
It's great to have that bond with the athletes, and
a
lot of it is because I was with the athletes so many days of the week, and also throughout the whole year. I wasn't just a track coach for them. I was with them the whole year. Then you multiply that towards, 6-7 years.
Yeah.
So like Sophia, she started with me since she was a 7th grader.
Okay.
So now I've been with that family now for 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a lot more. Maddie Lyon, same thing. She started with me since 6th grade.
Yeah.
You know, so I tell them, you call me before every track meet. So I talk to Dami, Maddie, all of them before the track meets.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, just to, just say good luck and have fun, and just
what you
just another voice for them to to calm, because there's a lot of pressure at those.
Yep.
Pac-12, it's a lot of pressure.
Right. The big schools in general, I think there's more pressure than maybe is necessary. But yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
With the track club, so and in California, because you can train pretty much year round, how does that work? Like, what are the seasons for you guys? Like, what's the high school season start and end date? Because we start March and we're done in June, like the first week of June. But then we basically don't have any contact with the kids until next March, you know?
Wow.
I know, it's crazy.
Yeah.
When I saw you guys are starting training in February or January, I was like, what?
Yeah.
So anyway.
So for high school, we're allowed to be with the kids. I believe it's 9 months or so out of the year.
Wow.
There's a dead period where you can't be in contact with the kids at all.
Okay.
So when I went with Titan to nationals, it broke the dead period rule. So I was suspended for a track. I kind of knew it already, but
that seems kind of foolish. Like, is there any way around it, or is it just like you just have to break it to make that happen?
It's the role that they have because of the 1 or 2 coaches that are extreme, you know.
Sure.
So basically, the time frame for high school track, I think it's January where they can start training, the end of January. Awesome. And then the first meet's typically like February, mid-February time.
Yeah.
Then they'll go through, this year they go through the end of May.
Okay.
So typically it was like late January, early February to June is the normal time frame for the high school season. So very similar.
Okay.
And then what I was doing was I worked for free for a lot of those years in the off season. I would just show up to the high school and just work with the kids.
Anybody wants to.
Yeah. Apparently that's like a no-no. So the school, wasn't just me, but other coaches were giving more. And so the school said, you can't do that. So then they created something that paid the off-season coaches. Gotcha. So I started getting paid later on for that.
Yep.
But yeah, so for me, my club team Leap Squad trains all year round. Okay. And so here's how I'm able to go through the year-round training, but not overtrain. First, the 4 cycles we do are not the same. They're completely different trainings to where it's almost like doing 4 different sports.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Right. And then the second part is we only compete 6 months out of the year. So a lot of coaches think, oh, you guys must jump all the time. Yeah. No. Right now in Leap Squad, we've had 3 jump practices. Okay. So far. Yeah. For this year. But you would think we've been jumping for a long time based off the results. Sure. Yeah. Right. So the late summer after season, it's a Rick Stassi workout. Oh yeah. Long story short, lunges and squats. It's a lot of lunges and squats. There's no running. Yeah. It's like, it looks like a boot camp basically. Yeah. So my getting in shape is reteaching motor skills. Okay. Because kids from 7 to 18 are literally physically different than next year. Right. So you got to we have to reteach them how to use their new body. Yep. Right. That's I think a really good insight. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so I just squats and lunges. I get them to handle time under tension. Okay. It's just getting used to those movements. Yeah. And then we get into the early fall. Now we typically do 8 400s. Okay. I've had one coach walk out of my seminar. Yeah. Because he didn't agree with it. That's fine. Yeah. So what I've done so far is I studied the value of the soleus. The soleus muscle is what propels the human body forward. Yeah. You take that out, you can't walk forward. Okay. Right. And so that gets to be trained. And the only way you can train it is by running and bent leg movements. Yeah. So like riding a bike, seated calf raises, things like that. Yeah. However, if we run too much, shin splints, all the impact injuries happen. Right. So how do we train the soleus without the extra wear and tear on the whole body? Right. And so when I have them run 8 400s, yes, it's a lot. However, I don't time them. There's no stress. It's do 8 400s once a week and complete it. So some kids are walking,
right?
Some kids are running, some kids are trying their hardest. I don't care. At the end of the day, it's time and attention,
right?
Because our generation, like as in like kids, people born from like before cars, we have cars. We don't walk anymore. We don't walk anywhere. So we have a lack of the soles, which is why Achilles injuries are so high, because we don't walk anywhere.
Not using it.
And so I looked at was it Katie Hall, Tara Davis, these athletes that are runners first, Sydney McLaughlin.
Interesting. Right?
And you put them in long jump, it's like you just show up and jump 20 feet as a girl. Like, what is it? You're just athletic. Yes. And they've been running the 400s. There's a correlation there. My brother, 26 feet 2 inches, like just falls 26 feet. He went 14 steps last year and went 25-11. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like ready to go. So the soleus is very important. So we do the 8 400s and additional cross training stuff for the early fall. Then in the winter, late or early winter is where we start introducing plyometrics, stationary plyometrics. Jump squats, and it's land and loading. It's the loading which is the important part, not just jumping continuously. It's we'll do 6 jumps in place, we'll load each time, teach the squats we did in the summer in that dynamic form and fashion. Right. And then we'll work on teaching the mechanics of how to run, where your hands should be, all the biomechanical movements that need to happen in order. Right. So now we've done that. Now the middle winter, okay, now we're going to move while we do this. So now it's a lot of Dan Path philosophy. Now we're doing, rudiment stuff and all those movements, Goliath and all those basic movements that are working on impact and absorption of the movements, which essentially establishes muscle stiffness and it's essentially the responsiveness of the muscles and so on. And then we start doing gallops, start doing bounding, all those things. So I don't have the traditional, let's do 4 weeks of training and then a deload and then a test week. For me, it's like, what am I testing? I know where you're going to be. I can see it. Your body will respond when it's ready. So I can't force you into a cookie cutter mold, and so I've seen a lot of coaches too, they'll have their overall schedule of these are when we're going to run. Here's all the workouts. The thing is, life happens. So if I went to a party on Thursday, was busy with my friends, come back and Monday is my hard training day, how it always is, and we're supposed to run 17 1,000-meter runs, I'm going to break down. And so when I break down, what's going to happen? I got to keep up with them. When I keep up with them, injuries. I'm forcing myself, hamstrings, quad injuries. It's like, or I have a template of here are the 4 systems I want to work. And today, you know what? We're not ready to run right now. I can tell we're not ready to run. We're going to take that out, work on the next system. We're going to work on your core. We're going to do form running. We're going to work on plyometrics, something different to get you ready to go for the next day. And so that's that part, right? And that's where I teach. This is where you stand. This is where you sit. I want you to understand these concepts. We're doing short approach. We do 10-step long jump usually, 6-step triple jump, and I mean 6 physical steps, not strides, right? And I want their body to accept the motions. I see a lot of coaches who start with the long approach and stick with it because the kids will eventually go. They'll eventually adapt, and they will. The problem is if I throw you in and just sprint down the runway and triple jump, you've never done it before, you're going to freak out. And so it's like, well, how do I get you to accept the motions? So you crawl before you walk is the way I see it.
I like that.
And so that's the winter. And then we get into season. Typically in season, week 5 of competition is where athletes start to really click. Well, if you're starting in March, right, and you end in June, well, you have rounds of qualification. So that 5th meet or 6th meet is typically league finals.
Okay.
Right. So you're like in a rush to get these marks.
Yeah.
You can't get to invitationals without having marks, but you need the marks the first 2 meets.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like how?
Yep.
Or you have your winter season, which establishes the first 4 track meets. And then the 5th meet is that first meet of season, which is why you see us on the state leaderboard, because we're 5 meets in.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And then we go to the season. And then there's a lot more management through there. Okay. But that's my calendar year.
Yeah.
You know,
man, how when you were coaching at Mater Dei, what percentage of athletes would you say were also training with you for Leap Squad, like outside of the actual high school season?
0.
No. Seriously?
The service that I gave Mater Dei is the same service that I gave the club team. So high school, we trained twice a week. Okay. In the off season. So I would see them for 2 hours for that time frame. And that was it. They would go home. That would be it.
And so that's just what they did, like in general, to like stay in shape through the summer and fall.
Yep. So essentially I've created a program that's a maintenance program.
Yeah.
That's it. So that's the reason why like the kids aren't falling and like breaking down. Yeah. It's because we're just maintaining. We ramp up to 5 days a week when we're in season. And then when we're in season, we don't train. I follow the Dan Path theory is we don't train more than 2 days consecutively of hard training. Yeah. 2 days on, 1 day off, and another day on, another day off, and then track meet. Yeah. Okay. And so when athletes do multiple events, I only focus on 1 event per week. Okay. Because for what? You can't overlook the athletes, you know? Like I would superset a lot of the athletes. If they can do all 3 jumps, that's great. Well, why are you doing all 3 on the same day? It makes no sense. Yeah. You can do 1 or 2 and do really well at a high level. Yeah. And then the next track meet, we adjust and train for the next 2 and do from there. Okay. Do you guys... go ahead. No, go. But you have to develop the next athletes to replace the athlete who's not competing. Because a lot of coaches say, oh, I got this stud, you know, she's like a superstar. We're going to put her in 4 events on Thursday for our dual meet. That's great. She wins all 4, right? And then what happens? Friday, she recovers. Then again, 4 more events at our invitational. Yeah. Why is she in 4 events at invitational? Well, because she's good, but there's no value behind the 4 events at an invitational. Invitational was a showcase. Right. So now you think about this. Now the next Thursday, 4 more events. Do the math. 3 track meets in 1 week. Yeah, that's ridiculous. The math. Yeah. Right? It's rough. And now you have a meet the next invitational Saturday, another 4 events. 10 days, 4 track meets. Coach, you don't get it. And it's not that you don't understand it. It's because you see that plaque in the back? I get plaques on my board. Right. And I got a bunch of plaques. My athletes don't go to college because they're hurt, but I got plaques though. And you come to our program and we're doing great. Yeah. And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. Right. You know, or I see another athlete at state doing high jump and triple jump. She was a 5'8" high jumper and a 40-foot triple jumper. And she couldn't hit both numbers. Why? Because she had high jump at the exact same time as triple jump. Oh, so you're saying you, even at the state meets, you would try to focus on 1 event or 2 events that are on separate days? Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's interesting. What's the value of you have to be at your peak performance? Yeah. And you're sitting here doing 2 events at the exact same time. Yeah. It makes no sense. I feel like it happens quite a bit. All the time. I think too, it probably, and this is what you're probably getting at, is like, what is your goal? You know, and so it seems like as a coach, their goal is to get plaques, but your goal is kind of like beyond, you know. Yep. My goal is to get them to theirs. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Period. What's your goal? I want to go to nationals. Okay. This means you got to be on my hip this whole for the next 4 years. Right. Some athletes, I want to get faster. Okay. All right, here's how you run. See you later.
Yeah.
Back to this person.
Right.
I'm not like showing favoritism.
Right.
You know, you could say, oh, well, Dami's your favorite athlete. No, she's the only person that said 50 feet.
Right. And maybe wanted to put in the effort and time.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, now I have a lot of athletes say I want to go to nationals. Our conversations are different, you know, and so the biggest thing is if I were a head coach of a high school, I would let the administration know I'm going to get the athletes to their goals. I'd rather get last place in every single track meet, but send 85 to 90% of my athletes to college.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah.
I don't care about the plaques aren't for me.
Right.
You know, and so, you know, but I reflect that into my club team. Oh, you're specializing events. No, they ask for a goal that requires more time.
Right. Yeah.
You know, everyone's so jumpers. Good. They're not all jumpers.
Yeah.
They just started with the jumps because I need them to understand the philosophy and trust and build a idea to a perception to a belief in me. Yeah. Then I bump them over. Dami ran hurdles. Mm-hmm. Sophia ran hurdles. Titan ran hurdles. Ben ran hurdles. Emily ran. I had a lot of hurdlers. Yeah. You know, however, it's when kids are coming from a high school practice or they're busy, I can't run them in the hurdles. Yeah. What I'm doing with them is doing walkthroughs. What I'm doing with them is teaching them their step count. What I'm doing them is adjusting their block starts. Yeah. You know, we're walking through mentally what to do. So when we're training it with me, they're just getting the other half of it. You know, and it's let's get you the most experiences we can, period. Because you can be Arcadia champion, right? In the hurdles. Yeah. But you don't go to state because you peaked at Arcadia. Right. Yeah. You're backing off your training. Yeah. It's like no one cares about, we do about Arcadia, but no one cares about the marks there. Coaches want to see, can you perform well when it matters? Right. Yep. You know, and it's that part. And a lot of it just comes down to no one's wrong in the way, like if people are doing exactly what I say that I don't do, I'm not trying to bash you. That's you. Right. That's your philosophy. Right. Because your program is working because of your banners, right? Yep. You know, but I feel like I found a way to create banners in my own way. Yeah. Yep. You know, and so we're on the same team. You know, it's just I have my way that I say works for me. Yeah. And I'd rather have 16 athletes take first place in 16 events. Yeah. Versus 4 athletes take, you know, and win everything. That's a really interesting, because I bet I can't do the math that quickly in my head, but I bet if you had more first place or less, you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Like I'm okay with better. Like, so Jade McDonald, her dad decided to come to Mater Dei. Yep. Jade McDonald, superstar, phenomenal athlete. She's now at Iowa. She was at Long Beach Poly, freshman year for like a week or two. The dad calls me. He's like, "Hey, we're coming to Mater Dei," and I was like, and I was trying to tell him like, "Don't, like, you're good where you are." Yeah, you know, Coach Chucky over there is a great coach. I'm like, there's like, if it was a drop off and like I was fearful of her success, I would be like, okay. Yeah. But you don't got to spend the money for private school when you have a great coach already. Right. Yeah. You know, like save some of that money for maybe additional private coaching or therapy or whatever. Or getting to meet. He comes over and I asked him, I was like, well, why'd you come here? Like, why'd you transfer? Like, why'd you come here? And he said, I looked at your athletic.net and all the athletes throughout the years. And I watched the kids that were at the bottom. Yes. Place the kids with the top. Yes. Yes. And I said, thank you. Yes. I was like, I got athletes that, like, in my head, I'm like, you weren't ever in this space. You weren't this type of athlete. Right. But now you are. Yeah. And it's like, you could walk on right now to a school if you wanted to. Yeah. And you couldn't even make the pit your freshman year. Like, right. Yeah. Not even close. Yeah. And so, like, to me, I'm more excited about those athletes. Yep. Making it and having opportunities. That was the other thing too I loved with watching the vlogs too, that, you know, you could see the progression of all these different athletes, because, you know, you started when they were freshmen and now we got to see how they improved in their form. And like
the athletes who stuck with it and listened to you, like it was every single one was the exact same story, you know, like there was major improvements, especially like, you know, form and technique. But you could just see their confidence grew over the years too. So yeah. I would echo that as one of your biggest strengths. Yeah.
Thank you. That reminds me of Taylor Ashmore.
Yeah.
She was a soccer player. She was a beast already. Like she showed up and like she showed up late to season. She wasn't a sprinter, but was with the sprints for a while, and then ended up long jumping, won league, like literally just showed up and won, jumped like 15-10.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you're gonna be good. And I was like, you're not jumping right, but we'll get you.
Yeah.
And then the next year, she was not listening to me at all. She was like, I got it. Like she's I won last year. Like pretty much entitlement. Like I got it. I don't need it. And I was like, okay, got it. So I said, just so you know, I'm gonna let you do your own thing. I trust you. You got this.
Yeah.
I'll be over here. And everyone improved. She hit the same mark, 15-10.
Yeah.
And she didn't win the next year. Bianca did. Bianca went 15 something and beat her. Yeah. And I said, whenever you're ready, you let me know. Junior year, she's like, okay, like I'm with you. 17-6, and the next year 18-1.
Wow.
And then she just graduated from Santa Barbara, has her own bikini clothing line.
Okay, sure.
And is like doing great.
Right. Yeah.
You know? So for me, it's like hop in line. And I'm not saying I have all the answers. What I'm saying is I have a program for you to start with, and we'll adjust accordingly.
Right. Yeah. I think that's super huge with everything in life too. Just like nothing is black and white because every situation is unique. So yeah, that's really good. You know, I think we'll wrap it up there. This has been beautiful. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 down the road, but yes, this was awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Keinan. And it was a pleasure meeting you and talking to you. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Likewise too. And keep doing what you're doing. I see you have a bunch of camps and things like that, right?
Yeah. Slowly starting, basically following your model.
Yeah, keep it going. Keep it
awesome.
going.
Well, thanks so much. You have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. You too.
All right, bye.